Welcome back, Savages. Tonight we're talking cryptids and what they are. Alright, I'm sure we've all been aware of cryptids. So if you're not familiar with cryptids are, so cryptids are creatures that are found in folklore, found in fairy tales, legends, mythology throughout the entire world.
Basically any, like, character, almost, from a story.
Yeah.
Can be...
a cryptid.
Classified as one.
Yes. We all know that, you know, my favorite, Nessie.
Yes. Love
is
Nessie.
a cryptid. But there are people who kind of go back and forth that it could be an actual sea creature because where the Loch Ness monster, the Loch as it actually is a lot deeper and a lot wider than people realize. So it could actually be some kind of sea creature that has just not been discovered and doesn't want to be because, you know, humanity sucks.
Right. And that falls with a lot of cryptids, especially with stuff like Bigfoot. Is it something that people are making up? Is it possibly an, animal that is just simply not discovered because there's a lot of those?
Right. Or, I mean, most of the sightings of Bigfoot are in the wilderness. It could very simply be somebody who has chosen to live in the wilderness, and they have...
Grizzly Adams?
Yes. There's a bunch of pictures people have supposedly taken, and you can see, like, a human form.
Oh, yeah, the pictures are always 10 feet away and super blurry.
Right,
Yes.
with, like,
So, in
2
reality,
pixels.
it could be a human in, like...
camouflage, hunting gear, stuff like that, yeah.
Who just happens to either be hunting or just live there. Because
Right.
how many reality shows are there of the people who live in the wilderness off the grid?
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah. Or just, a bear.
Right.
Is, like, the number one answer.
That one irritates me because I don't think people realize that bears don't always walk on 4 feet.
Right.
They have 4 feet, but a lot of the time when bears are spotted, they're on 2 legs. Bears can walk on 2 legs. And they're not always, 8, 9 feet tall.
No.
I mean, some of them are smaller.
We have some around here.
Right. You have smaller bears, and then you have the bears that can get anywhere to like 8 to 12 feet.
Yeah.
And just because you see something, that tall, you're like, oh, it's Bigfoot. No, it could be a bear. Bears walk on two legs.
Speaking of Bigfoot, that actually brings me into one of the cryptids that I wanted to talk about today.
Oh my goodness, you took a lot of notes.
She is fully prepared.
I am so ready for this.
Oh, Kai. Okay.
So,
let's go.
The first one that I want to talk about today is the Florida Bigfoot, also known as the skunk ape. The first mentions of this were possibly from like the Seminole folklore of the, and I'm going to say this wrong, Kappa, or it's also in their...
Cupcakey.
In their language.
I'm pretty sure we played that joke last time and it was funny.
Yeah.
In their language, it translates to tall man, who is known to be stinky. It's
Grizzly
said
Adams.
to be...
Therefore, the name skunk.
Skunk ape, yeah. It's said to be a bipedal creature, anywhere between 5 to 7 feet tall, so more closer to, bear height. It is said to be a rusty brown reddish color, and hence the skunk ape name. It is said to have a foul skunk-like odor. And supposedly loves lima beans.
What is it with cryptids and vegetables? Because the one I have is a vegetable freak, too.
I don't know.
He prefers flesh, but he likes vegetables.
You know what, same.
So did Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
So, the Florida Bigfoot, or the skunk ape, is said to live in the Floridian Everglades. The earliest, actual sighting that we have on record is, in Barden, Florida, in, 1947. The Barden booger was, was spotted.
Named by a 5-year-old.
I would hope so. Because if that was an adult, they have problems.
Right? I couldn't find a whole lot about the Barden booger specifically, but it is linked to the skunk ape, kind of, just because they're in similar areas. The earliest written account that we have about the skunk ape was in 1942, when someone claimed that they saw that they were driving, and the skunk ape was riding on the side of their car as they were driving. Hitching a ride, I guess.
He just needed to go somewhere.
He was just traveling.
So somebody saw the movie Back to the Future
Yeah,
with Marty
in
McFly
1942.
on the skateboard. I don't even remember when that movie came out.
Teen Wolf.
Oh, that one too, yeah.
Yeah.
So skateboard car movie.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what we're going
Yep.
with. Okay.
And then in the 1960s/70s, sightings became a lot more frequent.
What else was going on around that time frame?
Drugs.
Drugs.
Which can go back to a lot of cryptids, because a lot of cryptids are sighted a lot more in that time area, and it's like, okay, was it something, or were we on drugs?
Psychedelics, man.
Well, you gotta think though too, like the indigenous people.
They did a lot of drugs.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
But it was medicinal purposes.
Well, it was
and they
also
were-
like
Or ritualistic.
right.
Yes,
It was
it was-
a lot of it was ritualistic, and it was their spirit animal. There we go.
Yes.
Like a lot of that, the indigenous people and their religions things that they did. A lot of them used like medicinal things to find their spirit animals, which I guess you could also classify as cryptids.
Right. You
Because
could.
a lot of them were real creatures, but they were different.
Off.
Yeah, like there was something different about them.
They had supernatural powers,
Yeah.
or they weren't quite the right
Look.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, and if you go back to what a lot of the lore around werewolves was that he
Yeah.
was an indigenous man, that a wolf entered him, and he shifts every full moon. I mean, that was one of the things that was written about the early werewolves, was he was indigenous. His wolf became him.
Yes.
And
I think we should do a wolf and vampire episode.
I
should.
would love that.
I love the werewolves.
Yes.
Yes, we know.
In 1957, 2 hunters were camping in the Cypress National Preserve and were supposedly like attacked, or like their camp was invaded by the skunk ape. It could have also been a bear.
Right. I would say I am the worst like paranormal investigator, because not only am I like into paranormal, but there's also that same side of skepticism that I have.
But that's what makes you good, because
Right.
you
Right.
have to debunk everything.
Well, it's just
It's
you're in the woods.
yeah.
You have your tent is here. This is trees.
And there
We
is a
know-
Floridian black bear.
Yes, we know that bears lives in trees. Bears. Wow, bears live in trees. I just can't. My brain is fried. You always run into bears, depending on where you are, wolves, coyotes.
Yes.
Not everything has to be
You are in a campground. You probably have food.
right. Well, not even just a campground, just like
Well, yeah, but
tents.
your camp area.
Right,
Yeah,
your
I meant,
camping
yeah.
area. Yeah, you have food. Food attracts other animals or other people, depending on where
Right?
you are. But if you're in the middle, like if you're off-grid camping, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
God knows what is surrounding you.
Right.
Yep.
And that's why I will not go camping, because
No.
I don't like that thought.
No, thank you.
I've seen too many.
If I ever have to do that, it will be in my car with the doors locked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and things covering the windows so you don't have to see what could possibly be peeking in at you.
Yeah, I don't want to see out.
No.
Just like when I'm at home and it's dark, curtains are closed. I don't want to see what's looking back at me.
Right.
Right.
Nope.
So there were so many sightings actually of this that in 1977, a bill was proposed to protect any humanoid something animal. It was not approved, but it was proposed because of the skunk ape. In 1997,
That shit would pass nowadays.
probably.
I saw it going through your head.
That will get us kicked off. We're just going to not go there.
In 1997, a tour bus with 30 to 40 people were visiting the Cypress National Preserve, and all reported seeing a 2-legged creature.
Again, bears.
Right. At some point in the 90s, I couldn't find an actual specific year, but in some point in the 90s, a man named David Shealy founded the Skunk Ape Research headquarters.
Oh, God.
And this is still a real thing to this day.
Is he the one that goes on TV and just makes a whole bunch of noises?
Probably.
No, okay.
Now, he did pass in January of this year, but...
Oh, well, now I feel bad. Okay.
But the headquarters is still a thing, and you can still buy a skunk ape hunting permit for $6 on their website.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the purpose of the bill that they tried to pass way back when? If you now can get a permit,
I'm just saying.
you can get a permit to hunt them.
Also, I'm not sure how legal that permit is. It is literally a sticker on this website. But it is a thing that if you have $6 burning in your pocket.
All the time. I don't like to put down what other people believe. I don't like being that person. Mm-hmm. You can't just go around putting things on your website. Oh, well, we can kill this creature, because that's how people get shot, animals get shot. You can shoot yourself in the foot or something. But that's how you incite panic.
Yes.
Because if you start telling people, oh, there's this creature out here, this is what he does, this is what happens to people, you incite panic. Mm-hmm. And panic equals people, especially in Florida, with lots of guns.
Yes.
Being stupid.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
If you want to put together a whole friggin' research team, that's fine. Get yourself a compound or something. Just makes it sound cult-like at that point. But get yourself a safe space. Build yourself a den, like the hunting things, tree blinds. There we go. Get yourself something like that. Recruit people who aren't stupid and know gun laws, gun safety, hunting safety, being outside safety. Because you're going to open a can of worms that's going to cause a whole lot of mess. Mm-hmm. And then you have people in the paranormal community who are just like, oh, well, did you see that they shut this down because this happened? You screw the rest of us. Mm-hmm. Because you don't do all your proper research first.
Not saying that this doesn't exist or whatever, but...
You want to go look for these things, you do it safely.
Yes.
Don't just put something on your website for $6. It says, let's go hunting. Don't do that.
Yeah. No.
Because even if that is legal, which I am pretty sure it's not,
Probably not.
it's going to get a whole lot of stupid people doing stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of like the guys that take the campers out looking for aliens and then they get stuck somewhere because they decided to be stupid.
You might be wondering, how do we know that the skunk ape likes his lima beans?
Yes.
Well, David decided
Okay.
to put piles of lima beans out. Mm-hmm. Went to bed. He woke up the next morning. They were gone.
Oh my God, they disappeared.
I want to know, how did he come up with, out of all the food in the world, how did he say, I'm going to put piles of lima beans?
He probably bought like a whole case, realized he wasn't going to eat them, and he's like, I'm just going to chuck these out the door because that's going to be the best thing. But again, it's food.
Right.
And it's
Unless
outdoors.
you sat there
In the Florida Everglades.
peering out the window like a crazy person, you're not going to know what actually ate the food.
Now, I will say, during the 2 weeks that he did this experiment, the skunk ape sightings were significantly higher.
He was looking for more lima beans.
Now, yes, as Kelsey's trying to say, it could have been a bear because it was food.
I'm just
It could have been a freaking coyote
Or a
that was
raccoon.
hungry.
It could have been a raccoon.
A cat, a dog,
It's food.
an alligator. I don't know. Will they eat lima beans? I don't know. If they're hungry, maybe.
Doubt that, but I'm not putting down what people think is real or whatnot. But it's the fact of
You have to use logic.
common sense, people. Common sense. If you put food outside,
Something's going to eat it.
well, yes, whether it's another human, or if it's an animal. But unless, again, you are staring out your window with 10 and 2, just right there all day. You're not gonna know.
Okay, so we're talking about a skunk ape, right? Mm-hmm. Between 5 and 7 feet tall.
It's a bear.
Wait, hang on.
Okay.
That's a little smelly.
Very.
You're in the middle of Florida.
Right.
What is Florida? Hot as hell.
Especially in the swampy Everglades.
What if it's some homeless person who's living out there,
Right.
and then, you know, he's a little stinky because he's homeless and he's living out there in the Everglades, goes walking by, he's, holy crap, there's 10 piles of lima beans? I haven't eaten in 3 days.
Right. You're gonna eat the beans.
Now, there is a proposed, what is the skunk ape? In 2000, an anonymous person claimed to have seen an escaped orangutan.
That I believe.
Now, if we remember, it's a rusty brown color,
Yeah.
Right.
which are
Orangutan
orangutans.
colors.
And we're in Florida, where people have animals that they shouldn't have
Because, okay.
all the time.
That's a whole different topic that I'm not gonna.
So it is very
Get on.
likely that someone owned an orangutan,
Yep.
let it loose because they realized that they didn't want it anymore, and then because it's not supposed to be in that environment, it got super stinky,
Yeah.
Well, not only that is
and then it ate the
when
lima
those
beans.
right when those animals are. I just heard about this on it was some UK TV show I was watching. Domesticated animals that are then forced out into the wild don't know how to go back to not being domesticated.
Yes.
But it does change how they survive. I mean, it's like people when you throw them outside, like, well, let's just say people out of prison. They don't know what to do the first day that they're released. But over time, they figure out how to adapt to their surroundings and how to blend back in with society to a point. Now, animals, I mean, we've all seen it, especially with cats that just get tossed outside
Yeah.
because, again, humanity sucks.
Yeah.
We've seen cats. I had cats that were domestic at one point. They were tossed out. They had to learn how to survive.
Yeah.
And these exotic animals that people buy, they realize, oh crap, I don't know what I'm doing, and they just let it go. Well, there are two things that's going to happen to the animal. One, it's going to die, which
Yep.
sucks. Or two, it's going to learn how to adapt. And at that point, not only do you have that animal, but it's a dangerous animal at this point because it knows domestication and being feral.
Yeah.
And there's no in between.
Nope.
Like,
And all it's doing now is trying to survive. That's
Right.
it.
right. And you get those animals who they start procreating with other animals, which is how you get intermingled species. There's a chicken in Hawaii that apparently was a domestic chicken, and then a hurricane happened, and then it mixed with a quail on a whole other island, and now it's a domesticated feral chicken.
Oh, wow.
Whoa! This show was I really liked this show. But again, that can also happen though. Like you get, zoos and aquariums and whatnot that go.
I'm sorry. Domesticated feral chicken. I can't.
I will have to look it
Yeah.
up because it is a real thing. I don't know what it is. I'll find out what it is. I can't remember, but it is. It's in Hawaii. It's on an island. It's a domesticated feral chicken. There are hurricanes and there are hurricanes and natural disasters that, zoos and aquariums and whatnot.
Actually, it's a diffican.
Oh my God. Where things can happen and animals can get loose and they don't find them all. Again, those are animals who are in captivity, who only know their handlers, who now have to be like, oh crap, what do I do?
Yeah. And they had built a relationship with their handlers and trusted them with their lives, and
Right.
then they're thrown out, and now they have no sense of trust whatsoever for anything.
No.
They have no idea how to survive, and they're going on pure survival instinct at this point.
Right. I mean, animals aren't stupid. So,
No.
I mean, a lot of these cases...
Have you met my cat?
Shut up. I love your cats. So, a lot of these cases of, like, Bigfoot and, the skunk ape could essentially be an animal that was domestic at one point
Right.
and is now just
No
trying to
longer.
survive.
And
Yeah.
it could be like your domesticated feral chicken, where it started as this animal that had been let loose, and over these hundreds of years has intermingled with other things and
Created a whole new species
that we don't even know
right.
about.
Right.
Okay, so we'll do mine because mine is not.
Yeah.
Mine's not an animal. There is no real explanation for what this one could be. I just randomly picked this one by doing a Google search for the most Googled cryptids. This one was the 3rd top Googled cryptid in Washington State. And it is called I don't know if it's Kappa or whatever, but it's from Japanese folklore.
Then I'd go more Kappa.
Oh, apparently they're just called feral chickens.
Lovely. I'm so
But
glad.
yes, they were domesticated chickens that because of a hurricane got swept onto an island. They became feral chickens, and apparently there were already feral chickens on this island, so then they just intermingled, and now they're just all crazy.
The concept, the concept of feral chickens.
Yeah.
I don't know where to even start.
I would not step foot on that island.
No.
You can't
No.
get to the island unless you're on a boat.
Well, I wouldn't get off the boat. No. All right, so this one, he
That looks creepy.
yeah,
He looks like a duck chicken. Wait, no, a chicken frog. That's where I was going.
he looks like the dude from Lord of the Rings with the chicken face or a duck face.
Gollum.
Yes.
Hey.
So he goes back to the Edo era, where he was considered malicious and dangerous. It was that's how they kept kids from going near the water, because he would snatch them and eat them. Supposedly to this day, you can still find signs, beware of the Kappa, near the water. He usually lives in the rivers. Occasionally he will come out to steal food from fields or houses. He's often portrayed as a humanoid being having the size of a child. This is where it gets kind of weird. But he has a hole in his skull, kind of like a divot, where he keeps water. The water is the source of his power. Therefore, without his water, he's paralyzed.
That reminds me of the movie about the fish guy that lives in a tank and then he falls in love with his handler and whatnot.
That just sounds like the B movie, but with fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why he lives by the river. If he goes away from the river, he always has to make sure his little divot is filled.
Is there like a straw that runs through his mouth, kind of like those stupid beer hats?
I don't know, but he'd be really stupid if he drank his own water.
Well, I mean,
I don't know. Supposedly, if you're touched by one, you're under their control. But there's 2 ways to escape.
okay.
The first way is if you come upon one, you greet him in the traditional Japanese fashion. You bow. So he returns the bow and he dumps his water and he's stuck. The other one is he is supposed to like cucumbers. He finds them more delicious than flesh. So you offer him a cucumber and it is said that you will be sparing your life for at least a year. In the Edo era, it was customary for people to take cucumbers and carve their names or their kids' names and their date of births on the cucumbers and toss them into the rivers, which would then guarantee
In theory.
a year of life.
So some lady just walks into the little bodega or whatever, the sale stuff just down the street, and she just buys a whole bunch of cucumbers. Okay.
See, my thought is, one comes up, oh, hey, what's up? What? Psh, done.
Right. Yeah. Or like, the whole viral videos of the cats with the cucumbers throwing the cats.
Oh my god.
I did it to Winchester.
That's mean.
I wanted to see.
And did it work?
I got a little bit of a reaction out of him, but I don't know if that was because I threw something at him or if it was the actual cucumber.
See, you're not supposed to throw it. You're just supposed to sneakily put it down, and then they notice it, and they're like, whoa.
There is no sneaking with Winchester. He's like, what are you doing? I thought that was kind of an interesting one.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer the whole werewolves and the dog man and that stuff, but this one, dude's got a divot in his head with water.
Well, I mean, give it a couple more years and most of these gamer boys are going to have divots in their heads,
Right.
too. from wearing their headphones all day long.
they're gonna have a band right across the top of their head.
Uh-huh. All right, guys. I think we're done with cryptids for tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We will be back.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Welcome back, savages. Today we are going to be talking what?
You gotta give it a little more oomph.
I just have a mental impression of us sitting like the Tales from the Crypt.
Uh-huh.
Welcome back, savages.
Okay.
Look.
So try again. If not, I'll do it. Okay, ready?
We're not at the mortuary.
Excited. Don't do that. That's creepy. Oh, God. Oh, gorgeous. What are we doing? We're doing cryptids?
Yeah.
They are cryptids?
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we're going to start with what
they
are
are.
cryptids, and then we've got three.
Briefly.
Okay.
I was giving an example. Hey, they're not regular spirits, really, because this is what sets them apart. Although they kind of could be in some cases, but we're going to get into that later with some of our
folklore.
favorites. That
Okay.
kind of thing.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
We good?
Okay.
All right. Ready?
okay.
And
Oh, I thought you were starting.
Oh, my God. Okay. All right. Well, I got this. All right.
Do you?
Yeah.
Last time you said that. Do you want?
No, I was trying to get a sentence in my head of what I wanted to say. Okay. Okay. We good now? Okay.
whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm good.
Whenever you're ready.
I'm good. Okay. Do you need to do the whole 1, 2, 3 thing?
No, just
Okay.
pause for silence for a second and then jump into it.
Okay.